Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. Jesus said to the Jews, I tell you most solemnly, whoever keeps my word will never see death. The Jews said, now we know for certain that you are possessed. Abraham is dead, and the prophets are dead. And yet you say, whoever keeps my word will never know and taste death? Are you greater than our father Abraham, who is dead? The prophets are dead too. Who are you claiming to be? And Jesus answered, if I were to seek my own glory, that would be no glory at all. My glory is conferred by the Father, by the one of whom you say he is our God. Although you do not know him, but I know him. And if I were to say I do not know him, I should be a liar, as you yourselves are liars. But I know him, and I faithfully keep his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced to think that he would see my day. He saw it and was glad. The Jews then said, you're not 50 yet, and you have seen Abraham? And Jesus replied to them, I tell you most solemnly, before Abraham ever was, I am. At this they picked up stones to throw at him. But Jesus hid himself and left the temple. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So this is the great week where we have the big stories of faith. We have seen Susanna and that drama around morality and the whole drama around what happens when lust gets out of hand. We've seen Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and they're walking through the fire. Now we have a drama that is bigger than everything else we've seen. So we're taken back to Abraham. And remember, Abraham is the father of faith. Abraham is the one with whom God makes a covenant. And the covenant he makes is that Abraham will be a blessing to a multitude of nations. As we hear in our text, Abraham bowed to the ground, and God said to him, here now is my covenant with you. Here now is my covenant with you. A covenant is a binding relationship between two parties. In the Old Testament, they didn't have lawyers. So you didn't go and lawyer up and make a bulletproof agreement and have it signed so that... No, you made a covenant. And the covenant would be that you will do this and I will do that. And we agree to it. And there are many ways to seal a covenant. And we see here with Abraham, the way of sealing the covenant with Abraham is through a blood sacrifice. That God would take the animal, Abraham would prepare the animals, and God would fire on the animals and burn them up. As a holocaust, that those animals can never be eaten or had again or seen again. Because the covenant is irrevocable. And so the very source of the covenant, the blood and the animal, is completely given over and can never be taken back. Now, God made a covenant with Adam. We know what happened to that one. They broke that one properly. Noah, his second covenant. You know what they did with that one? That he said he repented, he will never mash up the world by water and flood again. But the people must behave well. Well, yeah. They broke that one too. Now he makes a covenant with Abraham. And the covenant with Abraham has several pieces to it. And it's so important that the Bible records it 3 different times. First, he must leave his land and his people and go to a new land and a new people. A foreshadowing of the Exodus. Second, his name must change. And to name somebody is to be father to that person. And by changing his name, God says, I become your father this day, and I give you a new name. You're no longer Abram, you're now Abraham. Third is the covenant is a covenant that is signed by circumcision. And maybe God is saying, they didn't get the point of it the last time, but maybe if we hurt them really where it hurts, maybe they might get the point this time and remember. Well, we know what happened to that one. They forgot that too. But this covenant with Abraham is a covenant that is made for all generations. That Abraham will become a blessing to a multitude of nations. That Abraham will take God as his God, and God will protect Abraham and his people. Adam and Eve was a couple. Noah was a family. Abraham is a multitude of nations. If we come to the gospel reading now, and Jesus and the Jews in their dialogue, Jesus is making some very important points. He said, before Abraham ever was, I am. Coming back to that one. Coming back to that. Because before he says that, here's what he's saying to them. He's saying that, he saw, whoever keeps my word will never die. And they're saying, well, Abraham is dead. The prophets are dead. Who are you? Who are you claiming to be? And each time they push him, he raises it. If I was seeking my own glory, that would be no glory at all. My glory is conferred by the Father. And we know that in John's gospel, the glory is seen at the moment of the crucifixion. This is the glory of God. The glory of God is when Jesus gives everything he has in complete love. That's when God's glory is revealed, because now we know the full extent of love and what love really, really looks like. But in this covenant, in this new dispensation, Jesus is saying, I tell you solemnly, before Abraham ever was, I am. I am is the name that God gave and revealed to Moses in the burning bush in the desert. I am who I am. In other words, Jesus might as well have said to them, don't worry about Abraham. I am the one who appeared to Abraham in the burning bush, because I am God. Now, I want you to feel the full shock and horror of this, because the last time a man told me that he was God, I took him to St. Anne's, and I locked him up there for about 3 or 4 months. Yeah, he was having a psychosis. And 4 months he spent in St. Anne's because he thought he was God. Now, they pick up stones to stone him, and you must understand and hear in that, because they understood what he was saying, that he was claiming to be God. And that's a sin of blasphemy. It's against the law. And that's why they were stoning him. They were invoking the law that anybody who blasphemes should be put to death. They were invoking the law. But Jesus is claiming to be God here. And in his claim to be God, we now have very little wiggle room in what we do with Jesus right now. Because if he is not God, lock him up in St. Anne's. If he is God, then what do we do with him? If he is not God, then he must be a liar or a madman. If he is God, what do we do with him? And this is a drama that is put before your life today. Who do you say he is? Who do you say he is? And I want you to see how the drama plays forward in covenant. Because when he says, before Abraham ever was, I am, and invokes the identity of God, and says that the glory of God will be revealed, we play forward now to the Last Supper and to the cross, where he does a covenant in blood, and the covenant of the sacrifice of a lamb. And that's what we celebrate every time we come to this altar. That the covenant is no longer a covenant for which Abraham paid a price through circumcision. This covenant is a covenant where God has paid the supreme price by giving us his Son, Jesus Christ, who gave his blood and his body for our salvation. The covenant of Jesus Christ is called the last and the eternal covenant, is the supreme offering of God. Because what we have here is the supreme image of love. Love is easy when the beloved is loving you back. Not so? But when the beloved is giving you thunder, what do you then do? When the beloved is hitting back, is rejecting, is angry at you, is belittling you. When that is the case and you keep loving, that's a higher form of love. Remember, love is not a feeling. It's not the pitter-patter of your heart when the beloved walks in the door. Love is a verb, it's an action word. We've learned since we were this high that a verb is something you do, not something you feel. And this is the supreme symbol of what love really looks like. Because this cross is how love has been displayed. We put everything negative, every vile emotion that the human can ever muster in their heart and soul, and we threw it onto him on the cross. And what did he do? He loved back in return. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. And not only did he love back, he begged off for us too in the rush. Now, that's the highest form of love that we will ever see. If this is a covenant by which we have become children with God, this is what we've been called to imitate. Now, you and I have a serious problem now. Because if that's the high standard of the covenant, what's the standard of your loving? What's the standard of your loving? What's the quality of your loving? What's the quality of your forgiveness? What's the quality of your giving to those who are not loving you back? And that is a drama of our text today. Because as we're moving closer to the Passion, we're coming more to the soul and heart of the mystery of faith that we are celebrating. Today, reflect on the quality of your loving. Because God loved us with everything he has. We can't afford conditional love. I will love you if you behave good. I will love you if you love me back. I will love you if you do the things I like. I will love you if you act the way I want you to act. That's not love. That's not love. Love in its highest form is expressed in this incredible symbol of the cross. That symbol is what we must ponder on this day. Because this is what God did so that we could become children of God.